Don't you think it would be a good idea for more people to share their psychedelic experiences online? But why? Psilocybe, hello, it's Cosmic Buddha, and today we're doing a trip review. A Reddit user was kind enough to give me permission to share their incredible trip experience with you guys. Interestingly, this Reddit user also has a medical background and is very experienced with psychedelics. Trip report, ego death on 6 grams of Natalensis. And for here till the end of the video, we will be referring to this Reddit user as OP. Remember that. My spouse was out of town the last 2 days, and I had quite a bit of anxiety and choice paralysis over what to do with my time and existence. Those two emotions are pretty common for me, and I usually handle them reasonably well. But being alone heightened the experience and feelings of ennui. Ennui? Ennui. I'm going to have to Google that. So once all my daily tasks were taken care of, I decided to do some mushrooms to help me relax and rest. That's what I'm talking about, guys. You finish all your important tasks for the day, get some shrooms, and get ready to chill F out. For some reason, though, I just kept adding mushrooms to the cup until I got to a perfect 6 grams. Usually, I am a 2 to 3 gram kind of guy, and that much makes me peaceful and feel one with nature, but nothing too extreme. On 3 grams, I could drive a car, but definitely do not ever do so. Thanks for that, OP. I was actually planning to fly a plane on a hero's dose to see where I'd land. So I put on some lo-fi music, made a blanket bed in my greenhouse, and chugged down 6 grams of lemon tech Natalensis at exactly 9:01 p.m. and went to my greenhouse to lay down and look at my phone until they set in. I love the timestamps here. It gives you a good idea of how the drug is slowly kicking in and OP's experience. I think it's useful if you guys are recording your trip experiences to actually use timestamps so you have an idea of how quickly your body responds. So after reading that, here's some thoughts. Personally, I find the taste of magic mushrooms to be horrendously bad. Some people say that magic mushrooms taste like sawdust. To those people, why do you know what sawdust tastes like? Thus, if I'm going to enjoy that horrendous taste, I'm either going big or I'm going home. Hero's dose, baby. This makes it worth the suffering. However, I can see the value of lower 2 to 3 gram doses. And interestingly enough, in the therapeutic setting, psilocybin is usually dosed in the 2 to 3 gram range. And the way they like to look at it is that usually 1% of the dried weight of a mushroom is how much psilocybin is going to be there. So when we say a 2 to 3 gram dosage, what we usually referring to is 20 to 30 milligrams of actual active psilocybin. And this is an important distinction to remember, that every strain is enormously different depending on yield, time of year, and even species. So 5 grams might be 50 milligrams of psilocybin or hero's dose, or it could be 100. It could go either way. But in the therapeutic setting, they prefer to use 20 to 30 milligrams of synthetic psilocybin so that they can ensure that every single dose is exactly how much it should be and people don't end up with a terrible trip experience. Interestingly, some of my friends actually prefer the 2 to 3 gram dose range. They say it doesn't feel overwhelming while still feeling relatively functional. This is the key point, guys. You need to find out your ideal dose. While we have terms like the hero's dose, the therapeutic dose, the microdose, only you know how your body works, and only through experimentation can you tailor your ideal dose to you. Your perfect dose might actually be 2 grams. Maybe for you, 2 grams is enough magic mushrooms to give you the hero's dose effect. Figure out what dose makes you feel like Elon Musk's bank account and take that dose. Opie mentioned that on 3 grams he could drive, but do not ever do so. Guys, I just want to highlight, this is golden advice. I don't want to see any of you here on an episode of 1,000 Ways to Die. The psychedelic community has enough stigma associated with psychedelics. We don't need someone doing something crazy with their doses. I also like to grab a blanket when it's trip time because I tend to feel really cold. I don't know why, but the pre-trip for me is a frigid experience. Let me know in the comments if you guys also experience the sudden drop in body temperature after ingesting magic mushrooms. 9:17 p.m. This is the moment I knew I was in for a serious ride. You sort of get this feeling when you've taken a strong shroom that the shit's about to go down. It's hard to explain, but there's this internal state that's like, okay, this is a lot of psilocybin. I'm going to magic mushroom land. Like certain strains, they give you this preemptive, intense hero's dose kind of feeling, so you know you're going down the rabbit hole. In my peripheral vision, I noticed one of my plants moving more than the humidifiers could account for. So I looked away from my phone, and everything in the room appeared significantly closer than it should have been. Usually mushrooms take about an hour or so for me to even start feeling anything. It had been 16 minutes. I looked back at the room and the plants, and all of a sudden all of the edges of the plants shattered into outlines of fluorescent colors and began to breathe. Okay, so Opie's trip has begun really quickly and he's feeling them hit hard. Realizing this was going to be a serious trip, I got up and went to the kitchen to heat up some leftover chicken and rice because I hadn't really eaten anything today, and I knew in another 20 minutes I probably wouldn't be able to. The countertop under my plate began to slither and move with all the patterns casting shadows of color on the walls and objects around me. Suddenly, I remembered that chickens are an animal with completely valid desires and wants and feelings, and I empathized so hard with the chicken that was my dinner that I literally couldn't eat it anymore. Damn, bro's wasting protein. It became unfair that I could be experiencing such grandeur and beauty, and the chicken had a life that was by all accounts truly terrible. So I pushed the chicken away and got up to get some fruit, as my mushroom brain realized that fruit is the only food whose purpose is to be eaten. And that pear tasted incredible, probably one of the most profound tastes in my life. Only in the psychedelic space will things taste profound. I've also experienced this, as some strains kick in really fast. Usually it's about an hour or so for me. But I've had certain strains like Cosmic Buddhas kick in just a few minutes. I drink the tea and then boom, I'm ready tripping balls. Breath is also a term I can resonate with. The magic mushroom space does feel like everything is alive and beating. Okay, so food does tend to taste amazing on magic mushrooms. Like even some dry chicken breast will taste 10 out of 10. And that's a lot for a dry chicken breast. I personally don't have an appetite when I'm tripping, and I actually have to remind myself to eat. Feelings of empathy for things is 100% part of the experience, and for certain groups of people, all this emotion, it might be overwhelming. You might become constipated with emotion. 9:26 p.m. All that literally only took 9 minutes, and I only made it 2 bites into the pear before I was satisfied and realized I needed to go lie back down or I would be stuck in the kitchen. So I went back to my greenhouse and watched as the LED lights and white ceiling above me danced with color and slithered and swirled around me. I think one of my most profound moments of the night was watching all these colors and movement and audibly saying, wow, in real and true wonder and awe. I was probably 10 years old the last time I honestly and unironically said the word wow for its true expression of joy and amazement. It felt incredible to have that childlike, wide-eyed feeling again. 9:40-ish p.m. I could tell ego death was just beyond the horizon, and was honestly a little terrified until I got a huge wave of internal reassurance that everything was exactly as it should be and everything would be fine. So I let go of trying to make sense of everything and let myself dip into the cosmic whirlpool happening above me. I dissolved. I could suddenly empathize with everything around me and felt a deep, deep desire to allow everything else to live and exist. I wanted nothing more to help ease the burdens and provide environments where others could thrive and feel the joy that they're able to feel. Everything from the plants around me to my patients as a dentist to the anthill that I stepped on and trashed as a kid, full of anger at my parents. OP did something I really respect. They recorded the time of their entries. I've tried that, but on a hero's dose, I'm lucky if I can remember my own name, let alone try and type correctly. And that wide-eyed feeling that OP described, I feel that every time. It's like being a kid again. Everything is new, fresh, and full of magic. In our modern lives, we're so disconnected from that sense of wonder. Shrooms bring it back, and it's glorious. But here's the real secret, guys. You have to surrender. OP nailed it when he said, I let go of trying to make sense of everything. That's the golden rule of psychedelics. Don't fight it. Don't try to control it. Just let go and ride the wave. Trust me, the shrooms know what they're doing. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps grow the channel. Also, if you want to share your trip experience anonymously with the world in a trip review like this, send me an email. Link in the description. Make sure to tell me about the setting of the trip, your mood going in, what you gained from the experience, and any insights that you think would help other psychonauts. As you can see, OP has made an excellent trip report. Vaguely during this time, I realized it was raining outside and that my 2 dogs were still in the backyard. It took every ounce of my ability to move and stand up to go bring them in. Yet, as soon as I stood up, all of a sudden I was mostly completely normal with a sense of responsibility and my purpose to help them. I walked outside shirtless to let them in and stopped in the middle of my deck for a good 5 minutes and just felt the cold rain hit my skin. It felt like a weird harmonious meeting of the rainwater with my own water inside my body. And every single drop was like a small explosion of endorphins and joy. Then the dogs whined to be let in, so I let them in and toweled them off and put them downstairs. Back upstairs, I laid back down in my greenhouse bed and instantly dipped back under the event horizon. At this point, my consciousness faded in and out every few minutes, and I would oscillate between active consciousness, where I would have lucid thoughts and digest and explore ideas, and passive consciousness, where my very existence would become fractured and subject to just raw physical rules of the universe. It was beautiful and terrifying to internalize that I am just atoms in chemistry attempting to exist and organize into something I think is correct. But correct doesn't actually exist outside of my own arbitrary definitions. Everything is correct and nothing matters at the same time. The limitations of my own body slipped away and I felt huge. I cried, I laughed, I felt perfect and whole and full of wonder. Wow, this sounds like a scene from Interstellar, but I can totally resonate with these kind of thoughts and the psychedelic experience. And if you have a bit of a background in quantum mechanics and the nature of the universe, you definitely feel as if you're part of something more, yet you're also aware of the fact that you're made up of these little particles moving around at the speed of light, constantly interacting in the solid human form and expression of advanced consciousness, reflecting on its own nature while tripping balls and psilocybin being part of this massive universe, this spinning spiral, one of a billion galaxies. And then there's little old you just sitting there with a heart going duduf, 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 experiencing this human journey, as it were. And the psychedelics definitely fill you with that sense of wholeness and wonder. It's incredible if you think about it. Like right now, you're watching this video across whatever time zone and place you are. This was recorded far away, and just with a few electrons and a little tech know-how, I'm in front of you. You've never met me before, but I'm here, somehow a construct in your mind that exists in 3D space now, a real entity. Shrooms make you think about stuff like this, man. 10:40-ish p.m. About this time, I started to come back to more conscious, purposeful thought, although I realized I was struggling to know what was actually real or not. If everything can be boiled down to concepts, is everything just a concept of my own mental making? Does the universe exist outside of just my mind? So I started looking for grounding. Things that exist I found comfort and wholeness in. Most of those thoughts resolved into my spouse, dogs, and close friends around me. I realized that I have a deep need for my spouse to exist, that they should exist because they are an incredible person, and if anything deserved to exist, it was them. I kept repeating out loud that I wanted them to exist, that I loved them. Everything is exactly as it should be. because there is no way to be other than how it is exactly right now. And right now they exist, although far away. I remember audibly calling out to them because my soul yearned for them to be with me and feel the intense feelings of love that I was feeling towards them. It was beautiful and made my marriage more real than it has ever been. 11:15-ish p.m. The universe began to coalesce again and reality returned in earnest. I realized I was pretty cold, so I got up to take a shower and I played with the dogs momentarily and grabbed the rest of the pair from the kitchen before going to the bathroom. There, I saw myself in the mirror and instantly broke down in tears. Seeing myself in the mirror for the first time in my life, I can truly say I loved myself. I felt beautiful, powerful, and alive. I drew a bath again, unironically, said wow as the warm water touched my skin. Well done to OP for using grounding to maintain sanity. It is very important when you feel your mind slipping into the state of questioning reality and whether everything is real or not, that you do some form of grounding to bring you back. You have to remind yourself that both you and everything you are and around you does actually exist, and that you have taken a substance and are currently under its influence. Nothing is wrong. You chose this and everything is fine. The feeling of love that you want to share, I feel you, OP. That serotonin hits hard. You basically just want to hug the world. It sounds like OP is having a great fucking trip, coming down with a magic mushroom grow of self-love. 10 out of 10 boost to mood, guys. 11:49 p.m. I laid in bed feeling incredible and exhausted and so full of thoughts and emotions. The world still breathed slightly around me, but it was comfortable and expected. I texted my spouse that I loved them and would see them tomorrow and fell asleep. OP ended their trip on a high note, and I loved that. The magic mushroom glow is real. You feel self-love, gratitude, and a deep connection to everything around you. And let's not forget that connection to your partner. Shrooms have a way of unlocking these deep emotions that we've buried deep within our subconscious mind and that we don't often express when we should express them. You'll say things that you've been holding back. You'll feel things that you've been ignoring, and it's also raw and real. I usually express emotions that I'm not great at expressing after a trip to my partner. I go from Terminator to Shakespeare real fast. At the end of the day, guys, the human experience is about connection with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. Money, power, all that stuff, it fades. But the moments we share with loved ones are eternal. Thanks for watching. I'm a medical doctor. I have over 50 heroes doses under my belt, and I'm still sane. Or at least as sane as someone who has had 50 heroes doses could be. The purpose of this channel is to optimize your neurochemical experience of reality. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button like an alimony payment. Psilocybe out.